What's up guys, my name is Michael and today I tested the X-T3 against the X-T2. Now for that reason I grabbed both cameras, grabbed the 23 1.4 lens and drove a little out with my bicycle and took some test shots. Now this is not a scientific test, this is just a little test because I was curious about, is there a visible difference in image quality regarding the amount of details and regarding the dynamic range. So these are the two things that I wanted to find out. In order to get some decent results, I shot all the images at f8 and I adjusted all the exposure settings to the same values. The results are pretty interesting and I'm going to share them with you right now. I have imported the images into Lightroom and I shot images at DR100 and I shot images at DR400. Now let's start with the DR100 images. Let's go to the middle exposure, to the brighter one. Yeah, now you can see these images are shot with both cameras and you can see the settings down here. ISO 200, 1/250th of a second, f8 with the 23 millimeter lens. This one has exactly the same settings. Now what I'm going to do is put these images side by side and zoom in all the way to 400% straight into the image. Now let's go right here and go to the same spot on this image. And to be honest, I don't know how you feel about those two shots. Now if somebody told me they have been done with the same camera, I would say yeah, pretty much looks as if they were shot on the same camera. But actually the lower image was shot on the X-T3 and the upper one was shot on the X-T2. Now, regarding the details that you can see in the image, to me there is not a difference at all. I mean, I wanted to say there is not a huge difference, but to me there is not a difference at all. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go up here so we can compare another area. A little bit like this, a little bit like that. The funny thing is that I have even set the white balance to the same value, and it seems to me that the lower image has a little warmer tone than the upper one, but actually this might also happen because of the because of a little lens flare or something, because I was shooting directly into the sun, and you know, with the lens coating and stuff like that, this can happen. But I'm not too concerned about that, it doesn't really matter. But I find it rather interesting to see that the amount of detail is so similar. Let's go into this area, maybe we can see something here. And I'm really trying to find differences. I mean, the highlight area here with the reflection on the roof, it comes out pretty much the same. I wouldn't know where to talk about a difference here. And what I can see is that, of course, because of the higher resolution, we have 2 megapixels more on the X-T3, but actually that's not a huge difference. And as you can see here, the amount of detail is pretty much the same. Now, these images have been shot with DR100 at ISO 200, so we get the default dynamic range, let's go into some darker areas right here. And even there, I mean, I can see a little detail up here, and I can see detail in this image as well. To me, that looks exactly the same. Now let's go into the corner of the image where it's a little darker, and you can see these leaves here and these here, the dark areas, they look the same. Now let's go to the DR400 images. Now, as you can see, let's zoom that back out. By the way, I'm using Capture One right here. Check out my last video in which we talk about Capture One a little more, in which I processed some of the X-T3 images, the JPEG images, because Lightroom and Capture One are both still not able to open these RAW files. So I was processing the JPEGs over there. But I think some of you might really be concerned about the RAW processing and the sharpening capabilities of Lightroom. And this has been discussed all over the place, and many times Capture One is way superior to Lightroom, especially when it comes to processing the Fuji RAW files. And I'm gonna make another video on that topic pretty soon, probably. Let me know if you're interested in that. I'm gonna put a discount, a 10% discount code for you in the description for Capture One licenses if you're interested in getting one. Now let's talk about the DR400 images, and in order to get DR400, you need to go to ISO 800. Now that's what I did with these two images, and you can see that in both images the noise has increased quite a bit. And now this is not a high ISO test, by far not, because it's just ISO 800, and we are at 400% magnification right now. What you can see now is that the level of noise is about the same, at least to me. But if you look at these windows here, then you can see that the amount of detail, and again the image from the X-T3 is the lower one, is quite a little better. You can also see it in the windows in this building. You can see that the resolution is a little bit better on the X-T3, but not a huge difference. Not a huge difference, but it's not possible. I mean, it's the same resolution, 24, 26 megapixels. There is not a huge difference. Now again, we're gonna look for some areas with darker areas with darker areas. Let's go here to this tree, for the same tree up here. Not that easy all as it seems, and let's try to find some differences here. Is that the same tree? Not quite sure. No, it's not. This is the same tree. Now, regarding dynamic range, honestly, I mean, a lot of people have talked about the backside illuminated sensor and that it would provide a better dynamic range. And maybe there is a setting that I totally forgot, but not all of the settings that you can find on the X-T3 are available on the X-T2. So I thought, let's give that a fair comparison. I set the shadows to the same value, I set the highlights to the same value, I shot on the same film simulation, and I shot on the same exposure, same lens, same f-stop. So I did all that I could to get the same yeah, the same settings on both systems. And honestly, I think if there was a difference that was worth talking about, then we would see that in these shots. But to me, they look pretty much the same. So I mean, if you want to see it, it's like, yeah, if you want to believe, you believe almost everything. But honestly, maybe there's a little more detail in the shadows in the lower image, which is the image from the X-T3, but negligible. Let's zoom out, and I mean, this is really pixel peeping. It's not what photography is about. So what I think the advantages of the X-T3, at least to me, is not that high shutter speed. I mean, that can be useful for some projects. It's also not the higher resolution, it's not the backside illuminated sensor. It's more that I do really appreciate the faster autofocus. Now I know that comes back to the sensor, but that's something that I really care about in my daily photography. And it's of course also the video features and the video capabilities, the video quality, stuff like that. So these are the main advantages for me with the X-T3 to the X-T2. Now, I'm pretty excited to see other people testing this and comparing the X-T2 to the X-T3. And I'm pretty excited to see if somebody else comes to a different conclusion. And I mean, look at the image. There is so much detail in this image, and let's not be too hard about these cameras. I mean, I need to zoom in all the way to really start seeing noise or any minor issues with the image. And everything is fine to me. Fuji puts a lot of effort in these cameras. They create awesome lenses, and they create awesome details. And I mean, I could recover a lot from the shadows in here or with the settings in my camera, and I'm all fine with that. So this is not something to complain about, at least for me. It's just something that I wanted to test, and while testing I was just hoping that someone else might also be interested in seeing that. That's all for today. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram, and if you would like to see more about Capture One, let me know in the comments. Have a good day, guys. See you soon.